Hey y'all, Bad Chicks here, and I'm gonna give you the how-to on making a wig cap if you want to get started for our wig making class for Doll North. So greetings from southern, well, I guess more northern, sunny California. It's about 70 degrees here, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's pretty warm. For this, what you're gonna need is a doll. I prefer you bring a doll that's relatively small. This is the Mini Machina head, and I'll have some extras. This is Etta. I'll have some extras of the Mini Machina and Orpheus and St. George in case you don't have a smaller doll that you can bring. The reason that we're going to do a smaller doll head is it takes less time and it takes less hair, and the materials are expensive. So if you want to bring in your own materials so that you can do a lot larger head, I think that would be fine. You just might not be able to finish in the time allotted. So what you want to do, first of all, is I have this handy rig that I've made since I make these wigs a lot. And these are hard cap style wigs. So what I've done is, something stuck in the head. I have this tub filled with sand. I have my dowel and then another dowel set into the top of it. I will bring some of these so that we can use them, or you can just put your doll down, put a sandbag on your doll, hold it down however you want. You don't have to take the head off, it's just easier. So we take the head, regardless of whether you have it on a stand like this or whether you have it still connected to your doll's body, doesn't matter. Take 2 pieces of saran wrap, which I'm sure the saran wrap is nice and loud and crunchy on there. You want to use 2 pieces just to be sure. Sometimes the Fabri-Tac will weaken the saran wrap enough that it'll get it all gushy and stuff and it'll stick to your doll's head. But 2 pieces seem to be more than enough. And put it around your doll's head. Rubber band. You're going to want 2 rubber bands for this. Just rubber band that sucker on. I've gotten it fairly smooth on there. If you're doing an elf, their elf ears are going to stick out, and we'll fix that later on the head cap. Don't worry too much about that. The next thing you want is to take a piece of stretch mesh. This is the kind that usually a lot of doll tights will come made out of this. You might be able to find it in the lining section, like swimsuit liner. Sometimes they have this. You want the mesh kind though. You want it to be stretchy. In a pinch, you can use a pair of thin pantyhose, and that'll be fine. So stretch it over the top, and we're going to stretch it kind of tight. Take a second rubber band. My post is slowly moving, so reorientate there. And you can see, try to get all the little wrinkles out, or as many as you can, so it's nice and smooth. So now she looks nice and creepy and like a little ghost. Alright, next thing, get some Vaseline. And you're going to put a little bit of Vaseline on your hands. That'll keep the Fabri-Tac from sticking to your hands. And plus, of course, you want to peel it off later, which is kind of fun, I admit. I was one of those kids that would put glue all over their hands so that they had something to do in music class, like peel off all the glue. And then we're going to use Fabri-Tac, which you should be able to get at any fabric store, Joann's. You can order it on Amazon. It's great stuff. It's stinky. It's messy. It sticks to everything, so that's why we put the Vaseline on our hands. It's great for putting little details on fabric, on like doll clothes as well. So I cut mine so that this has a pretty big opening. You might want to cut yours smaller. And what you're going to do is just pour this out on top, and it will make horrible farty noises. typically. If we're lucky, it'll make farty noises. Yeah. And then there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm distributing this. I'm just kind of pouring it over her head. And the reason that we have, if you don't want to get the fabric tack on your hands, feel free to use latex gloves for this, but put Vaseline on that as well because it might stick. I'm fine with getting it on my hands, so just like finger painting. If you heard a sneeze right then, that wasn't me, that was my downstairs neighbor. That's how thin my floor is. Another lovely thing about Northern California, beautiful weather, tiny apartments. So you want to get not a terribly thick layer, but you know, just like a good bald cap if you're a cosplayer. I'm starting to run out. There we go. This stuff dries really fast. Getting it all around the scalp line. All right, and that is stage 1 of the head cap. And that's all you should need to do for the next 12 hours or so. Just let it sit, and we will come back and let it dry overnight. That's the best way to do it. When we have the class, we'll be doing it quick. So the caps will probably be not quite as sturdy as they would be if they waited. But you can come in on Friday and we'll have a small workshop where you can put your wig caps together and let them set up. And the Fabri-Tac will always leak a little bit, so I'm just smearing some extra on her head just so it goes somewhere and isn't going to waste. Alright, and clean up. You can just go like this and all the Fabri-Tac will come off. Alright, see you in 12 hours. Alright, 12 hours have passed. Here's what the wig cap looks like. Now we're going to mark off where we want to cut it. With the hard cap wigs, which is definitely what happens when you use Fabri-Tac. Like, I haven't used Elmer's glue per se, so I don't know if it creates a stretchy cap or not. You can use latex glue, like just straight up latex from a costume shop, and it'll be stretchy, and I've used that. It takes a lot longer than these do. But the hard cap wigs, you can create a definite, like very defined hairline with it. So we're gonna take and just kind of do where we want her hairline to be, and it'll probably be hard for you to see. I can see it though in person, and you'll probably be able to see it. You can use a Sharpie if you really want to. It's a little easier to see, but sometimes it'll show through the hair. Which, speaking of which, the reason that I'm using teal is because the finished wig that I'm doing with this one will be teal hair that I've dyed. So it matches. When you pick out a color to make your wig cap from, choose something that's either close to the hair color or close to your doll's skin tone. Since the Machina are blue, I suppose it doesn't really matter, but, or at least this particular one is. Kind of matches both. Getting over her little ear lumps. Alright, back. I'm not going to be too careful with the back because I don't care too much about the back, since it's going to be a long wig. If it's going to be a short wig, which you can do very short guy style wigs with this kind of method, but if you do a short wig, you're going to want to be a little more choosy about the back of the hairline, obviously. So I'm just going to peel this off. Turn it back inside out. So now it's like this odd little cup. We trim off the excess and keep the excess material here, because you can use it to wipe glue off your hands. And the fabric, like you can use a paper towel to wipe the Fabri-Tac off, but a lot of times it'll just make the paper towel stick to you. Alright, so there it is. It's kind of wobbly and thin because this is a thin material. And this is only set up for 12 hours. Fabri-Tac will harden after, like fully harden and become super hard in about 2 or 3 days. And it'll become hard enough that when you tap on it, it'll make kind of a plasticky sound. So that's about where we want it. And you can see that it's a little bit loose in certain places and like back here. So we're going to fix that, and you don't want to do it here, otherwise it'll show up on your part and it'll make a lump. So if you have that problem, you can just make a little clip there. Get out some Fabri-Tac. Yeah, I'm going to open my new bottle. I'm almost out. I go through this stuff pretty quickly. Here's how you open it. I don't think there's... Sealed for her protection. But take the little cut that we made, put a dot here. Keep having to turn around to make sure I'm still in the camera. The Fabri-Tac likes to stick to itself, so that's nice and tight now. This is still kind of loose. On this one, it's a little bit thick back here. I'm going to take just a little sliver out. And if you want this to fit multiple dolls, you don't have to take it in the back. If you're like, oh, well, I want, you know, there's a couple dolls I have that have slightly larger heads. But if you want it to fit this doll exactly, then, you know, by all means, tighten it up. Because when we put the final wig on, what we'll do is use a little bit of sticky tack on the inside of here, like back here where it's not going to get in the hair, to stick the wig on, and it makes it stick great. Your doll will not lose its wig. And that's it. That is the head cap. So fabulous.